Last month I had to tell a customer his timing system was shot. Not because of bad luck, because he upgraded to thicker oil, thought he was doing his engine a favour. That's a $2,000 lesson in listening to the wrong advice. And here's what gets me. He's not stupid. He just believes something that made sense 40 years ago, but will wreck a modern engine. And that's not even the worst myth floating around out there. I've been a mechanic for over 20 years. I've seen what actually kills engines, and it's almost never the stuff people worry about. It's the stuff they're confident about. So I'm breaking down 6 oil myths today, the ones I hear in my shop constantly. Some of them you've probably repeated yourself. No judgment, but by the end of this, you'll know better. I still see it all the time. Someone pulls up, hands me a little windscreen sticker that says next service 3,000 miles, like it's some kind of law of physics. That number made sense a long time ago. Back in the 60s and 70s, you had looser engines, hotter running, and oil that just didn't hold up like it does now. People were running fixed stuff like 10W40 and, honestly, 2,000 miles wasn't unusual. The problem is, that simple 3,000 message was dead easy to sell, so it never really went away. And let's be real about who benefits. Quick lube places make money by getting you back early. It's a massive business. Shell bought the Pennzoil Quaker State Group, which owned Jiffy Lube, for about $1.8 billion. There's a lot of incentive to keep that habit alive. It got so messy, Jiffy Lube had a $5 million class action in California, and they dropped the 3,000 mile recommendation back in 2011. Most modern cars on full synthetic are more like 7,500 to 10,000 miles in normal use. Some makers say 5,000, some go up to 15,000. Pretty much nobody's engineering a 3,000 mile interval anymore. If you drive about 13,500 miles a year, the 3,000 mile habit can mean 4 or 5 extra oil changes you didn't need. That's just money burned and more waste oil to deal with. So here's what I tell customers. Open the owner's manual, find normal versus severe service, and follow that schedule. And don't ignore the time limit either. Often it's around a year, even if you haven't hit the miles. That's the interval your engine was actually designed around. Another one I see all the time is the dipstick panic. Someone pulls it out, the oil looks dark, and suddenly they think the engine's on its last legs. Most of the time, dark oil just means it's doing its job. Modern oils are made to hold dirt and tiny bits of combustion junk in suspension so it doesn't bake onto the inside of your engine. That's why it changes colour. Colour on its own is a pretty useless health test anyway. I've seen oil that still looks golden but it's been cooked and worn out, and I've seen dark oil that's absolutely fine for the miles it's done. The one colour that does make my ears prick up is that milky, creamy, coffee with cream look. That can be coolant mixing with oil. If you see that, don't keep driving and hope for the best. Get it checked. Had a bloke come in Tuesday, nearly in tears, thought his dark oil meant the engine was done. Pulled the dipstick on his mate's car for comparison, milky white. Guess which one actually had a problem? What I'd do instead? Track miles and time and check the level regularly. Running low kills engines fast. And if you want proper facts, spend the 30 to 35 bucks on an oil analysis. It'll tell you about wear metals, fuel in the oil, coolant, and whether the viscosity's still where it should be. I see this a lot. Someone comes in for an oil change and they've already tipped in a little bottle of engine treatment because the car's ticking or burning a bit of oil, or they just want extra protection. Here's the thing. Modern engine oil isn't just slippery liquid anymore. It's already a proper chemical mix. Roughly 15 to 30% of what's in the bottle is additives that are designed to work together. Cleaners, anti-wear stuff, friction reducers, the lot. When you start throwing random miracle bottles on top, you can upset that balance. I've seen oils turn weird, and in some cases you can actually create nasty reactions, stuff you really don't want circulating through an engine. And one common one, extra ZDDP. People hear it's good for wear and go mad with it. Too much, think around 1900 parts per million and up, can backfire and it can shorten catalytic converter life. Also, reality check. The FTC has gone after products like Slick 50, Duralube, ended in a multi-million-dollar settlement, and Prolong for claims they couldn't properly back up. Be honest with me. Any of you got one of those bottles sitting in the garage right now? Or a mate who swears by one? Tell me in the comments. No judgment. I've seen it all. What I'd do instead: buy oil that meets the spec your car calls for. API SP, ILSAC GF6, Dexos, whatever your manual says. And if you've got noise, burning oil or sludge, fix the cause. Don't try to bottle your way out of a mechanical problem. Only exception, special builds like old flat tappet engines or break-in oil. That's a different conversation than your daily driver. One I see all the time. A car's getting up there in miles, it's a bit noisier, maybe it's using a touch of oil, and the owner goes, right, I'll stick thicker oil in it, that'll protect it, like it's armour. I get why people do it. My dad ran 20W50 in everything back in the day, said it made the engine feel solid. Different era, different engines. Tried that logic on a customer's 2019 Camry last year, and the valve timing system threw a right fit within a month. Lights on, rough running, the lot. Modern engines are built with really tight clearances, and they want oil to move fast, especially on cold starts where most wear happens. That's why the market's shifted so hard. 0W20 is now about 42% of new car factory fill requirements, up from 8% in 2010, and roughly 78% of new vehicles actually call for it. Go too thick and you can get slower cold flow, more drag, worse MPG, and even timing faults on cars like a Prius. Do this instead. Run the viscosity on the cap or in the manual. If it's high mileage, use a proper high mileage oil in the correct spec. And if you've got low oil pressure, noise or consumption, don't guess with viscosity. Get it diagnosed. Pressure test, check for leaks, PCV issues or wear. Another one I hear all the time is, don't switch to synthetic, it'll cause leaks. And the classic, once you go synthetic, you can't go back. That story mostly comes from the early days, back in the 1970s. Some of the first synthetics didn't have the seal conditioners we take for granted now, and the base oils didn't always get on with older gasket materials. Different engines, different oil chemistry. What I actually see in the shop today is this. Synthetic doesn't usually create a leak. It can clean up old sludge that was basically acting like filler around a tired seal. So the leak was already there, synthetic just stopped hiding it. And no, it's not a one-way door. Conventional, synthetic and blends are compatible. If you need to switch back for any reason, you can. Modern synthetics also handle heat a lot better, especially on turbos or hard driving. Conventional oil starts struggling at much lower temps. So here's the sensible move. If your engine's sludgy, don't do some aggressive flush. Run the correct spec oil and do a couple shorter intervals. And if a leak shows up, fix the gasket or seal. Don't blame the oil. If this is saving you from wasting money or from following your brother-in-law's dodgy advice, hit subscribe. And a like helps other people find the good info instead of the nonsense. Right, let's keep going. Oil life monitors. People either treat them like gospel or they ignore them completely. And in the shop I see two flavors of stupid. The 3,000 miles no matter what crowd, and the I'll run it to 0% on whatever oil was on sale and I haven't changed it in 14 months crowd. Neither one's clever. Here's what that monitor actually is. It's basically a maths program. It watches engine revolutions, temperatures, idle time, load, that sort of thing. It does not dip a little robot finger into your sump and test the oil. And it can't know if the right oil spec went in or if someone forgot to reset it after the last service. I see that all the time. So my rule is simple. Use the oil life monitor as your guide only if you're using the correct oil and still respect the time limit in the manual. And about normal driving. More than 90% of people swear they're normal, but something like 89% actually fall into severe use. Short trips, stop-start, towing, dusty roads, very hot or very cold weather. Back when I did rally stuff on weekends, I changed oil after every event, no question. But even my commute now, 15 minutes of stop and go to the shop, engine barely gets warm. That's severe driving, and I had to admit that to myself. After all these oil arguments, here's what I notice in the real world. People walk in absolutely confident. One bloke swears by 3,000 miles, another swears by some thicker brew for protection, someone else read a forum post at 1 AM and now they're terrified of synthetic. So here's the one question that cuts through all of it, including anything I say. Does your owner's manual actually tell you to do that? If the answer is no, don't upgrade, don't experiment, don't pour a mystery bottle in, and don't jump up a thicker weight because it feels comforting. Just walk away from the noise. Keep it simple. Open the manual and check 3 things. 1. The viscosity it wants, like 0W20 or 5W30. 2. The spec it wants. Look for labels like API SP, ILSAC GF6 or Dexos if it's a newer GM. 3. The interval for normal versus severe driving and the time limit, usually around a year. And between changes, keep the level full. Engines don't usually die from brand debates. They die from the wrong oil, the wrong interval, or running low while everyone argues on the internet.